Icon is a Greek word which means image, and for this brief insight into the writing or creation of an icon, we will refer to it as a sacred image. Icons have played an important part in the worship and piety of the Eastern Orthodox Church by being rooted in the Gospel. You can sense the veneration channeled through each icon, more particularly in those created hundreds of years ago. Today, the tradition of icon writing continues, using the processes, materials, and techniques handed down through the centuries.
The base for the icon is made from wood, and you need to have a stable wood. This wood is English lime. It's kiln dried, and actually it's grown on the Isle of Wight, so it's rather special to me. And when I bring it back here, the first thing that I have to do is to seal the surface on all the sides for all the processes that are to follow. From gelatine, the ordinary sort of gelatine that you use for cooking, or rabbit skin glue.
Rabbit skin glue is being applied to seal the surface of the wood.
In fact, I've got my sample board here. I made this up because people were asking me how it was all done, and it shows here the different processes. You can see on the corner the wood that's been sized with the rabbit glue or gelatine, and then you can see the first layer of gesso, and then a layer of linen added in between the gesso, binding the whole thing together. The linen is then painted on the top of it with more gesso, up to 15 coats of gesso laid. Gesso to go on the white boards, and so what I need is about 2 glasses of gelatine powder.
Up to 15 coatings are applied to the board. After the final coating has dried, it is sanded down to give it a really smooth surface.
This is my pattern, my icon pattern, and it's of St Matthew. That one is from the Hilander Monastery, 14th century. Get the design. This is the waxless, wax-free graphite tracing paper. I always think it's a great privilege to do this because I know some people would consider that these images are fanciful, but I believe that many of them are handed down right from probably original portraits. You need to incise the design again so that it shows through all the layers of paint, so that when you come to paint it you can still see the lines and you can restate them. And you can very easily scratch it with your fingernails and make an unwanted mark. So there you can see the image, and that image will show up all the way through. But the next process after this is to paint the background, because I'm going to gild it, and the next process is to paint it with bowl. So I have to go and get that.
The bowl being used is Georgian orange, made in Canada.
I don't know if it's a pigment, but it's earth. I keep in the fridge, otherwise it goes mouldy, I'm told. And it forms a base for the gold leaf to lay on, to stick to, and it's a softer layer. So we just paint over the background. So this is the block now with the bowl that's been applied. You saw me applying the bowl, and it's been polished with steel wool and then finished off with a velvet piece of velvet. I like it as it is personally, but this is the base for the gold leaf which is going to be applied, and when it's applied it looks like this. This is the gold leaf has been applied and it's been burnished as well.
Firstly, a board is degreased to allow the fine layers of gold leaf to be cut and lifted off easily. Since the 9th century, the Orthodox Church has established a set of traditional rules or canons for the artistic form of icons, and today icon writing continues much as it always has. The base is prepared by coating it with a solution of water, gelatine and methylated spirits, so that the gold leaf adheres to the surface previously painted with bole.
Get it to pick up the gold by wiping it on your hair or on your chin, or by the side of your nose, and then you pick up the gold. It almost jumps onto it.
This completed, the gold leaf background is burnished, using an agate burnisher to achieve a very fine shine.
Just continue burnishing this, sort of putting more and more pressure on it until it really, there are no marks on it and it becomes really like a solid block of gold, rather like this one, which is already done, and you can see that's very solid looking piece of gold. That's chromium oxide green. They're all pure pigments. You have to go up to London to get your pigments. But the amazing thing is, you see, it's because it's the Byzantine method of painting, and they used things, I think, that were very available, and it's not changed. So there's no artificial things in this at all. Everything is made from things that you can find in the house. Well, I'm just finishing the highlights on the clothing of this painting, this icon of St. Peter, and I've taken the pattern, the drawing, from a photograph of St. Peter painted at the Hylander Monastery. That, of course, would itself have been taken from an earlier icon, as each icon pattern is passed on from generation to generation.
Having painted the saint, the highlights are added, copying from the original photograph or picture to ensure the traditional style is adhered to. The style of any icon is unique, the face always looking, the hands blessing, praying or pointing to God.
Traditionally, icons, the gold is really the background, is separating the figure from the world, really, so that the gold, the gilding must go all the way around. But then it's also traditionally has a red line painted around the icon itself. And I'll show you this one as well. I guess a nice thing would be to do, if it worked, would be the halo. This is the way that was always used in Byzantium, and I suppose the Middle Ages, right through the Middle Ages, was to rub garlic onto the gilding where you're going to paint. It helps the paint to adhere.
The halo is added as a symbol of perfection, unity and totality, that which is holy or God.
After the halo has been painted on, the back and the sides are painted with the same acrylic, using that same mixture with the pigment to make a green.
Finally, the words in the icon, an integral part of the design, are written, often placed either side of the icon as an inscription describing the saint, in this case Jesus Christ. Records of criticism and skepticism go back to the very first icons, but there is now a gradual warmth among Christians towards the place of icons in worship and prayer within the Church in this country today.